everybody, today we are in downtown Westfield, and when I say we, it's my partner and brother Chris and I, and we're actually here on the Midland Trace Trail, very close to what is soon to be Grand Junction Plaza, right over here behind me. It's under construction right now, but this literally is downtown Westfield. And we're gonna talk about some of the reasons why Chris and his family lived in Westfield and moved away, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, I'm Jason Compton with the Compton Home Group. Welcome back to the channel. If you want to know everything there is to know about living in a place like Westfield, Indiana, or Indianapolis, Indiana, or any of the surrounding metro, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap the little bell so you're notified every time we do a new video, each and every week. Now we have people reaching out to us from all over the country with questions about places like Westfield, Indiana, Fishers, Indiana, Carmel, Indiana, Indianapolis, Indiana, of course, all the surrounding suburbs, pretty much every single neighborhood inside of Indianapolis as well. So if you have questions at all about living in any of those places, then don't hesitate to reach out any way that you know how. We'll always have your back with those questions, and we'll certainly have your back when it comes time for you to make your move to the Indy Metro. So again, we are in downtown Westfield, Chris and I, and just kind of exploring here a little bit and want to talk about Westfield some. And it's interesting because, of course, we get a lot of questions from people everywhere moving to this area, and they don't know Indianapolis very well. They, of course, don't know Westfield very well, or Carmel, Fishers, Greenwood, any place, and they always want to know, I wouldn't say always, but certainly we get the question often, where do you live? So where do I live, and of course, where does Chris live? I actually don't live in Indianapolis. I've lived all over Indianapolis, and I used to work in Westfield. I've said before that I used to be a high school science teacher at Westfield High School for 16 years, long before I got into real estate. But I live in Greenfield, Indiana now, which is east of Indianapolis, out I-70. It's a city of a little over 20,000 people or so, and we live there because it's close to my wife's job, and it is a nice community. Certainly is. And Chris has lived in Westfield with his wife and kids for a very long time, up until recently. And so people have always asked me where I've lived, they've asked him where he lives, and they of course want to know why that is. Why do you live there? So Chris lived in Westfield for a number of years, but recently just moved to Fishers. And we've had people that have been, I would say, spooked by that a little bit maybe. Why are you moving from Westfield if it's such a great place to live? And we've had people say, well, we've heard Westfield's really not all that nice a place. And there are pockets of Westfield, just like there are pockets of all kinds of cities around. Yeah, they certainly aren't very nice. You have some rundown properties like the one right behind us here, but this where we're standing is a lot. Yeah, it's restaurants, and it's a lot of old properties. They've just been converted into a number of restaurants. This is called Restaurant Row, and it's under renovation right now, you could say, because it's right next to Grand Junction Plaza, which is right across the street here, just off Union Street, and a little north of here where State Road 32 is, which is walkable from here. I mean, it's not even a quarter of a mile. That's where the old downtown Westfield is. And when you say downtown Westfield, I mean, it's tiny. It's not downtown Indianapolis, it's not the Arts and Design District, it's not downtown Fishers or anything like that, it's pretty small. So as Westfield has grown, because if you think back just to 1990, there was only a little over 3,000 people in Westfield. So Westfield's been around for a long, long time, since the 1800s. It's got a really deep history, actually a really interesting history with the Underground Railroad and many other pieces associated with that. But it's been around a long time, so as you might imagine, there are a lot of properties here that are very, very old. And it just had some explosive growth after that. So when you got to the year 2000, it's tripled in size. It's a little over 9,000 people. You get to 2010, and it's a little over 30,000 people. And now up here in 2021, when this video is being shot, it's over 44,000 people. So really most of Westfield is very nice, and it's also very, very new. And it has a lot of really good things going for it. So the cultural part of Westfield is really catching up with the growth. And so when you see areas like this, which were, well, where they are, they're very, very old, but you see areas like this kind of being renovated and brought up to some of the things that people want in their community. Pretty cool to see. But you still have a lot of these older properties, and you're gonna have a lot of newer construction kind of mixed in with it, just to create a heart or a cultural center for a community like Westfield. But with this in mind, I mean, Westfield is definitely a place that wants to be a premier place to live around Indianapolis, and it has its eyes on the future for sure. So, but you have a person like Chris who's moved away from Westfield. And so again, with so much going on here, with all the growth and all the positivity, why would anybody want to move away from Westfield? So, well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't necessarily want to move away from Westfield. We had an opportunity to move to Fishers, which is closer to my wife's family, about 30 minutes each way. They're from Richmond, Indiana. We really liked the neighborhood. The home that we purchased came available in, so we just jumped on it. And with the inventory low these days, an opportunity arises, you kind of have to jump on it.
It is hard to count how many places that I would like to live either in Indianapolis or surrounding Indianapolis. There are just a lot of really cool places, especially when you get into them deeply, you can start to see a lot of the little nuances, a lot of the little details about what a place has to offer. And so it takes a while to live in a place like Westfield to figure out what some of those details are. So Chris was moving away from those, unfortunately, and it was kind of painful to do so, but moving into another community that's actually very positive as well with Fishers. So Westfield is definitely a nice place to live, and even though Chris has moved away from it, moved over to Fishers, and that was just because the opportunity popped up, was open to staying in Westfield, certainly open to moving to Carmel, open to moving to Fishers, open to moving to Noblesville too. It's just that opportunity came up in Fishers, and it worked out geographically for him to be closer to his wife's family, and actually closer, just like you said, just to some of our family, because we've got family that live over in Fishers, and it cut a lot of time off. So, there are tons of places that I'd love to live around Indianapolis, and I'd love to try different places in Carmel. I'd love to try different places in Fishers, and actually lived in Fishers for a very long time until moved to Greenfield, and didn't move away from Fishers for any negative reason other than just geographically, it worked better for our family. So when you're trying to decide on what place to live around Indianapolis or Indianapolis itself, that's what you have to certainly consider. What geographic location is going to be the best for you and your family? And for a lot of different communities like Westfield here, it is a very nice place to live, has a lot going on. Like I said, we're here on this restaurant row, we're very close to Grand Junction Plaza, and we just got off the Midland Trace Trail, which you can take to the east almost all the way to downtown Noblesville. You can wind your way through there and actually get to downtown Noblesville, and then going back this way, if you take the Midland Trace Trail, you can get across US 31 and get to where the Monon Trail is. And if you get to the Monon Trail, you can take that clear up to what he was talking about with Grand Park. You can take the Monon Trail through the Arts and Design District in Carmel. You can get all the way to downtown Indianapolis from there. The thing is over 27 miles long, and from where we stand, we're about 20 miles or so from downtown Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range. Yeah. So, it's a good long way, but it's all interconnected. So whatever location is going to be best for you're always going to very likely find something that's pretty positive. And Westfield is definitely a place that has a lot of positive things going on. It's not a place that I'd say we would run away from. So if you hear like Chris moving away from it or somebody else is moving away from it, I don't know exactly what negative reason that would be that they would be moving away from it.
A lot more people moving to it than from it.
That's for sure, because it's obviously growing
and it's
very,
a
very
wonderful
fast.
place to be. So.
Yeah, it's a really, really nice place to be, and it's just a matter of the location having to be a good place for you. So if you have questions about places like Westfield or Fishers, Carmel, Indianapolis, Greenwood, Greenfield, Brownsburg, Avon, Plainfield, wherever, and you're obviously trying to figure out if it's the right fit for you, then reach out to us, because we can definitely tell you what's there, what type of lifestyle you like to lead, and whether that might be a good fit for you, and kind of what the future holds for that community in a place like Westfield, because you could certainly come to Westfield and maybe get the wrong impression if you are in the wrong area. But if you're in the right area and you can see what the future really holds for a place like this, you can see a lot of potential. So moving away from Westfield to another community could be a positive thing. It's just got to be a fit for you. But moving from another community to Westfield certainly could be a positive thing too, because Westfield can be a good fit for a lot of people. So if you have questions about Westfield, Indianapolis, or any of the surrounding metro, make sure you reach out. And until the next one, we'll see you later.